All right. I have here one of my many inspirations to starting this podcast. And that is going to be, I don't know where everything stopped. This is going to be my man, Von Allen of VonAllen Sports. My guy right there with the most awesomest freaking logo. You see the logo behind him?
Oh yeah. Yes.
How are we
It's like
doing
a
today, man?
VAS. Yeah. Well, I'm obviously a big fan of Assassin's Creed, so
Definitely.
it's just funny because the way my name Von Allen, the way the V goes over the A, and Assassin's Creed has the A. All you have to do is flip it up, and you've got a V, and so I've been able to use that over and over and over and over. So
Funny how a lot of cool things happen from something so simple, and then you get that badass logo. It's awesome.
yeah.
I need an artist. All right, so let's talk about your beautiful channel for a minute. Even though, like I said earlier, most people that listen to this most likely came from you, because again, you're one of the guys that actually helped me out. But this guy right here has some friends, and they don't know about you for some stupid ass reason. So let's change that, shall we? Because
Sure.
most of them are Patriots fans. So, and
Great.
what are you?
So
So go right ahead. Let's talk about your beautiful channel right quick, man. What you about, what you do, what you say.
well, VonAllen Sports was started actually. I don't want to say by accident. I always wanted to have a channel, but not a channel just to have a channel, but to have a voice. Because every time I watched First Take or those, all those shows, Undisputed and all them, it was where to the point I would be sitting there and I'd be just infuriated because I could not believe the kind of crap that they were saying and getting paid to say. And but anytime they had a guest on, they never checked them. They never when someone says something stupid, no one ever actually said anything. And
Nope.
I'm thinking, I'd give anything to just be able to talk to them and really set them straight. And I thought, you know what, the only way I'm going to get this across is just make my own videos and then maybe someone will see it. And so I came up with the Brady hate idea. But originally, you know how there's like 15 episodes, right? Originally, that was one video. So it was going to be like a 3-hour documentary. And so I made an outline of everything that anyone ever accused Brady of, all the negatives and all the bullcrap, right?
Yeah.
And I would answer each one, and I was just going to do that in segments in a video. And then Milena, she said, no, this is a series. This is like a whole series. You need to break these up, and each video needs to be each question. So what you see is an episode now, like, would Belichick rather have Aaron Rodgers? Or did Matt Castle prove that Tom Brady's a system quarterback? Those are their own videos. And she was absolutely right.
Or Jimmy Garoppolo with Tom Brady. That's one of them too.
Exactly. See, that was originally just supposed to be a segment in a 3-hour documentary.
But watch. I mean,
yeah, but look, I think making them a series is even better because now I've been able to add on to that series now, and now I can go on essentially forever if I want to. I mean, there's always something new. But what's funny is that wasn't the first thing I released. I actually released Montana versus Brady first because I wanted to introduce myself with something that was like, okay, look what I'm doing here, not just Brady first. I wanted it to be like a discussion. But anyway, to make a long story short, the whole point though, and the mission right now is to tell everyone the truth. And I always say that we're player friendly. Like I've got 4 interviews with former NFL players coming out this week. 4 different interviews with former NFL players, and every single one of them told me the same thing. I'm player friendly. And I said, listen, man, the only reason I'm player friendly, it's not because I'm trying to be, it's because I'm just honest. If I'm just honest, like the players, and one of them even told me, and you'll see this in the interview, he said, man, if you call me out on something I did wrong, I'm okay with that. It's like I'm okay with any journalist saying that. But don't make up stuff. And so all I've got to do is just not make up stuff, and I'm player friendly. It's like, okay, well, so that's the idea, and that's what we're sticking with. And you know what? These players will talk. They'll tell each other. Recommend us. talk to this guy. He'll give you a fair shake. He'll make you look good, you know. So if that makes you player friendly, I guess so. But it's more just about honesty. That's it. So
honesty and speaking the mind. I see you. That's one of the main things I want to do with this show. As a matter of fact, just like that. Oh man. Well, again, guys, if you don't know about VonAllen Sports, you're crazy, you're ridiculous, and you need to fix that. Subscribe right on YouTube. He'll pop up quick. Once you put VON, he'll pop up, and go find out his videos. Go watch the Brady saga, and you fall in love just like I did.
If you if you type in anything Brady and then hate, or Brady sucks, or Brady, anything VonAllen Sports will come up. I mean, I've got it covered. I've got the Brady hate market cornered right now. So it's pretty, yeah.
Right, the professor of BDS. If y'all know what Brady derangement syndrome is, he will explain that to you in great detail. Yep. Great detail. So that is VonAllen again. One of my 3 inspirations to start this channel 6 months ago. I will have him more if he allows me to. I will have him a lot more.
Really, so you started this after watching just other YouTubers, or is this something you always wanted to do?
I know you heard of Zach Schomler. He's one of my other ones. He's really good. And another Patriots guy named Mark Schofield, who's a really good quarterback guy who I listen to on a daily. That sounds
familiar. That sounds familiar.
Now.
Yeah.
He's on Pat's pulpit now. So that's why those are the 3 guys that really pushed me to get into this. So that's why I'm here. That's why you're here. I'm excited now. I was so nervous before this. Now I'm really hyped. All right, so all Patriots fans out there, this is supposed to be a regular episode, not a Patriots Place episode, but get over it. Brady has been owning this media market for the past 2 months since he threw his pick 6 to end his Patriots career, according to all you retards. So, speaking of which, what is the state of New England right now? You can finally speak. This is Trevor, by the way.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Trevor, Aaron. My name's Aaron. I know people always call me VonAllen, and I understand that. But my name's actually Aaron. So nice to meet you, man.
Cool. Me personally, I think the state of New England right now, a lot of fans are kind of uneasy for the most part. You have some fans that feel that Brady will live forever. Brady gonna play forever, and that's fine. Like, I can lie to you, most of us grew up watching Brady my entire life. So it's like, that's everyone who knows, but we know that everything must come to an end. There's certain people, especially in our little base, that well, not so little, but they are kind of delusional at some point, saying, just like, very unrealistic type of ideas, saying, that giving Tom Brady $30 million or like next 2 years, to me, honestly, is fiscally irresponsible. He's taken a lot of pay cuts so that the team can, win and bring players in to win. So it's like, to me, he doesn't owe New England anything. He literally gave everything he can give. 6 Super Bowl championships. So, I think everybody a little bit uneasy. Me personally, it's like they're nervous that the fact that there eventually will be a life without Brady, and a lot of people aren't ready to handle it yet.
They're scared of change.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, when you have 20 plus years of stability, I get it.
Yeah.
He doesn't owe anything to New England, but he's also a really smart guy. And at the end of the day, I think he'll make the right decision. Because $30 million is going to do what for you when you're trying to take that and trying to win a Super Bowl? And anyone knows what it takes to win one. He does. So I think he's being a nice little scientist when it comes to this. That's why he's being quiet about it, making fun of us with a Hulu commercial about it, and just biding his time. He's not. I know what he's trying to do. I get it. But the state of the fandom is kind of, right now. Right now.
Of course. I mean, who would ever thought that someone in Boston could have overtaken Larry Bird?
Yeah.
As the most beloved sports icon, or maybe even Ray Bork. I don't know if he's pretty beloved too, but I mean, we're not just talking about an average or just a quarterback that, we all loved Bledsoe. Okay. So growing up, I loved Bledsoe. I remember he was drafted. I was like 12 years old, something like that. So, I was against Brady replacing Drew. I was like diehard Drew, And I'm not one of these people that say, "Oh, I saw it in Brady." Nobody saw that. Okay, nobody saw what he was going to become. Okay, but all the way up to the Super Bowl. So in 2001 against the Rams, after Drew came in and got the victory for us against Pittsburgh in the second half. Remember when Tom he rolled his ankle? Yeah. And Drew Bledsoe, so Drew came in and looked like the old Drew from like the 97, 96 Drew Bledsoe. And I thought, well, Drew's going to start the Super Bowl then, right?
Going to switch off, yeah.
Because if you think about it back then, Tom wasn't really tearing up the scoreboard or the stat sheet all year. We were winning, but if you just understand the time frame at the moment, Drew was still the guy, you know? It's like he's the one that we thought we could trust. And even Bill Belichick made a joke. He wasn't even sure who was going to start, if you remember, because he mentioned some joke about taking a poll, you know? But so I was pro Bledsoe to the very end until I saw Brady in the end of the fourth quarter do what he did, and then it clicked. I was like, okay, I get it now. I get it. And it's something there. Because I had remembered Drew in the Super Bowl looking very nervous in the 90s against the Packers in the 96.
Yeah, 96.
And when I saw Tom, he looked like a freaking robot, dude. It was
composure.
I felt calm. Like he looked so calm. I felt calm, and I cannot tell you how nervous I was. I was, you know, I mean, you could have stuck a lump of coal at my butt, and I could have made a diamond out of it. I mean, that's how nervous it was, and Tom looked just so, you know. So we're talking about someone who is irreplaceable. So there'll never be another Tom, okay? And if there ever is anything close to another Tom, the odds are that it won't be in New England. So this is never going to happen again.
Nope.
Tom doesn't owe anyone anything.
I think fans
okay?
know that.
Right. And they need to understand, they need to temper expectations. But here's my thing. I do not like moving on from guys who are closer to a sure thing just for the future. Okay? Mm-hmm. So this whole, but we'll get this guy for the next 10 to 15 years if we get rid of Brady now. You know, and this was a conversation years ago, right?
Yep, correct.
What does that even mean? What is the future? I want to know what the future is. Where's this master plan that everyone thinks they can do? Everyone talks about their future. I remember the Colts talking about their future when they drafted Andrew Luck. How'd that go? You know?
Yeah.
I was dead against it. I said, no, you do not get rid of Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is the type of guy that you let him go out, you know, with a sword in his back. I don't care what it is, dead, dying, bleeding on the battlefield. Peyton Manning gets to go out his own way. I'm a big believer in that. And I was right. So Peyton goes on to break the touchdown passing record, takes Denver to 2 Super Bowls, gets one of them. And how's Andrew Luck doing, by the way?
He's not here.
Yeah, he's retired.
How many Super Bowls did Andrew Luck get?
By the way, but
and not that it's all on luck. I'm not saying that, but he didn't even get him to a Super Bowl. So how'd that work out? You know, and yeah, they got Luck for a few more years, but was it worth it? And if you look at San Francisco, they got rid of Montana, and they had Steve Young, okay? And it's rare that you have a backup that is going to be a Hall of Famer too. However, you can argue that was the right move. But I would argue that the way that team, the cohesiveness on that team, when they won that 4th Super Bowl, I would argue that they would go and win again.
Yeah.
Okay? And maybe again after that. Okay? So just saying, maybe. Okay? I think there's a better chance. So what would you trade in hindsight? Those 10, 12 years with Steve Young, right? And not even that long, was it? It was more like 9 years with Steve Young and 1 Super Bowl, or a possibility of winning 7 in like a 11-year span. What if you were a 49ers fan? I think I'd take the Montana sticking around and then having mediocrity after that. I would take that. I would take that.
For all we know, against those Dallas teams, maybe he could have taken 1 or extra, or you know, because that was the reason why they kept going out. So
he might have been the difference.
Joe Cool there, You never know. You're right.
No. So this is why I'm afraid of this whole moving on, like this whole, well, Garoppolo was the future. I was like, listen, I love Jimmy, okay? And I even went for the 49ers because Jimmy, I feel like he's one of ours. He's, we groomed him, we got him ready, and so I kind of root for him in that sense. But no, I was always against that.
Me too.
Tom goes out the way Tom wants to go out, and I don't care if his last year's garbage. He deserves it. Give him what he wants. He wants a 2-year deal, and the reason he wants a 2-year deal is not about the money, about him wanting money. The money, the number amount is what it forces the Patriots to commit. That's what it does. So it's not about him wanting the cash in his account. He couldn't care less about that. Okay.
He doesn't.
It forces the Patriots to have to commit for 2 years because of the salary cap. So if they sign to a 2-year deal, Tom knows he's not getting kicked to the curb next year. And do you really want to be looking over your shoulder in the twilight of your career? No, you don't. You feel like you deserve to get to say, okay, I got 2 years for sure, but I can retire if I want, and 1 if I feel like it. But at least I've got the choice now. That's what this 2-year commitment thing's about. It's about locking that in. It's not about money. It's not. The money is just a gesture, a tool to lock that in. He's not going anywhere.
Basically, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's just commitment. But
people are not seeing that.
Yeah, he doesn't want to leave, and it would be stupid to leave. It would be stupid to leave if you're Tom, because you and Bill have something built there that is. Why would you go somewhere else and just tear all that down? If you're Bill, why would you? I think about it. If you were Bill right now, would you really? All those years it took to get a quarterback on and to get on the same wavelength where they think like the same person. You really want to do that when you're almost 70 years old?
That's what I'm saying. You luckily drafted this guy back in 2000 at the 6th freaking round. He blossomed basically the next half year, basically, and you were able to be with him for another 19 to do what you did. Now you're going to let him go when you do not have a real backup plan, because God knows what the hell Stidham's all about. So you don't have a backup plan. Your defense was #1 last year, so you have something to fall back on. You just need to get an extra talent or two on O. You get that with a guy who's already established, who you already trust with the offense 100%. You don't have to worry about that side because you have him. So why give that away to be with a child with a messed up offense and not know what's going to happen with that side of the field?
They have to start all over again.
Yeah, basically.
What is your options? And it's like, think about the money issue, right? The quarterback rates are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Remember a few years ago back when the Bears gave, what's his face?
Cutler?
No. He didn't even get to play with them because they ended up drafting.
Mike Glennon.
Yes.
A couple years ago.
They
Mike
gave
Glennon.
that dude like $15-16 million. Mike Glennon, 15 or 16 million. Okay, so this is the Patriots' options. You go with Stidham. You let Tom go. You go with Stidham, who's making nothing, but he also might give you nothing. Okay, sure. Or your option is a free agent. So it had to be someone substantial. Okay, it had to be somebody worth it. Matthew Stafford. Well, how much is Matthew Stafford going to cost?
It is a trade too. So what? Like almost 30?
The same.
That's almost all your salary cap right there.
The same, or maybe even more than Tom. But you're also going to have to give up picks for it. You're going to have to give up something for it. With Tom, all you got to do is just sign the dotted line, and you're good. You got your quarterback. So people, fans are thinking, oh, well, if Tom wants too much, we can get some free agent. What free? What? Who? Who are we talking about? And I'm like so confused. I'm hearing these people say this, or we can make a trade. Okay, for who? That's not going to cost. I'm sorry. Is Aaron Rodgers available? Okay. Last time I checked, Green Bay ain't shopping him. Okay. So who are you talking about? Who's this big savior? Who's this guy that can come in and you can just give the offense to? I don't know. Nobody.
At this point, I'm not even hearing names anymore, because I remember I first started hearing about Mariota. I almost threw up in my mouth when I heard that. And
even that's going to cost $20 million at least minimum. Even that. Imagine giving $20 million that guy. I mean,
Thank
really?
you.
And Titans fans, oh my God, these Titans fans, they're so. Have you seen what they've been saying? Because people have been saying that Tom might come to the Titans because of.
Oh, that bull. Yeah, I heard that bull crap.
Yeah.
I laughed hard.
And to Titans fans, last Saturday night show, we went on Facebook together. So I went on Facebook trolling because I'm a member of a Titans fan group. And
I missed half of that. I watched the beginning of your show.
Yeah, I joined all. Yeah, it's like midway to the end, and we do that. But I go on there, and the amount of idiocy is astounding, dude. But it's literally like they saying they don't want Tom, they don't need that cheater, they don't need to all that. They Ryan Tannehill is their guy, and I'm thinking this is like the like ugly chick at prom sitting there in the corner making fun of all the hot girls.
I know.
It's like, what are you doing? You know, and it's like that's Titans fans like saying they don't want Tom or they don't need Tom. It's like,
I don't understand that hate. Like, did you see your quarterback in the playoffs? You're impressed with what you saw in the playoffs from him? I wasn't that.
You know what their argument was? Their argument was, well, if Tom Brady is so great and we need him, how come we beat him? That was their logic. That was their train of thought and their actual logic.
I don't know what they're talking about. It was literally 14-13. That's literally what the score until you threw the pick six. Other than that, it was you didn't really do much. 14-13 was the final score.
See, I wonder if
I don't understand
if New England would have drafted A.J. Brown instead. I wonder how things would have went out. You know, NFL ready receiver at that moment. You know, I wonder. But I mean, what do we know? You know what I'm saying?
I've been saying all season, and you guys know this. I've been saying all season there is no decline in Tom. I do not see a deterioration in his game. I see a bad group of players, and we still went 12-4, dude. We still went 12-4, and we should have had the second seed sewn up, and that was with the worst offense we've ever had. That is the worst group of people we have ever had starting on the field. It was this year, and we still did that. Okay, and I mean,
I'm trying to think of 2006. That's why I'm trying to compare them. Like,
yeah, but 2006, those guys were reliable. Okay, they weren't fast, they weren't necessarily, but they were reliable, and we got all the way to the championship game. I mean, we beat a 15-1 Chargers team, right, to get to that game. So at San Diego, this offense was just garbage. But I mean, I've never seen such incompetence, dude, by wide receivers, and
me neither.
Just and bad sequence of events, you know. In one game, it was just awful. But even with that, you put Tom on the Tennessee Titans this year, and they're in the Super Bowl. I don't doubt that. And just to show that it's not my bias or whatever when people say, Brett Favre just said a week ago exactly what I've been saying all season. Brett Favre said there is no deterioration from Tom that he sees at all. And
you would have to be stupid or Shannon Sharp to know to say anything different. Like I don't.
Well, and Brett, you could say that he might want Tom to look bad because the longer Tom plays, the more it props Tom up as an aging quarterback still at an elite level, as where Brett Favre was very proud of him playing good at an older age. So actually, Brett bragging about Tom would actually go against him. So clearly it's not a bias thing. Clearly Brett is being honest and he's dead serious about it. But I would trust Brett Favre over Shannon Sharp and Max Kellerman. Okay? But I also trust my own opinion on quarterback analysis. And I will be the first person to say it. I'll be the first person to say, okay, guys, we're here. I think Tom is probably done.
I'll do the same thing.
Yeah. But honestly, Tom will know before we will. I think he'll pick up on it and start to realize it, and then we'll notice. But he'll have noticed already. So
and he'll go on. Yeah, he's not a stupid guy. He's anything but.
Remember what he said? I'll quit when I suck.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he said years ago. So then, what would it take for New England to get him back? since he's holding them hostage basically, which is hilarious. I love it watching it on the sideline. So what would it take to get him back? We have what
a big
40 million cap, I think.
Yep, a big move.
So
a big move. Somebody's awesome. Somebody like although I'm very unsure of him, but I'm just saying, for example, a guy like OBJ, a target like that. Okay, it doesn't have to be him, but a target like that, and
Diggs.
Yeah, just somebody who is elite level. He wants a toy. He's watching Drew Brees get to throw to Michael Thomas. Okay.
Yeah.
He's watching Aaron Rodgers throw to Devontae Adams, he's watching Patrick Mahomes just throwing it up in the air with his eyes closed, and Tyreek Hill magically being open. All right, this pisses Tom off, and he's looking around going, "Man, I'm always doing for the team, and I'm going to a bunch of retards, and the only one who was doing their job was Julian Edelman, and he was playing with broken ribs and all kinds of crap."
And he almost broke. So, now what happens to my thing?
It's just...
Oh, it went away.
That's all it would take.
Come back. Where's Salon? Vaughn!
Here's Salon.
I see you.
It was 26 minutes.
There you go.
There we go. All right. Anyway.
But yeah, it's just going to take something like that, and it's obvious, and he's going to want some protection. Look for us to draft an offensive lineman in the first round.
That's what I thought. I think like a center. I think we might draft a center. I hear we may move Wynn to guard. I think that's what he played in Georgia. We may draft a tackle. I think we have like two young tackles in the mist, laying down there waiting. We probably get a center because we don't know about Andrews, so we can't risk that again. And then we'll see about Tooney. I'm pretty sure Tooney's gone though. He's gonna get banked, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna be gone, which sucks.
Another problem is we're losing Dante as far as, week-to-week coaching. I remember when Dante retired for that 1 year in 2015. Remember what Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware did to Tom? That's what happens when you don't have Scarnecchia. But drafting a receiver in the first round is terrible because Bill's bad at it. He cannot draft offensive skill players like that. He just can't. So we're better. He always does pretty good when he uses our first-round pick on either O-line or defense. When he does one of those two, he seems to get them. I mean, we got Chandler Jones and Dante Hightower in the same first round.
Yeah.
Okay? And
same round.
But then it's just he needs to stay away from wide receivers. So the best thing to do is to get a proven talent. So bring over somebody who can get the playbook, who's smart, who can get it immediately, and there's a few options out there, but nobody's impossible to get. I mean, it depends on what you're willing to give up. So, But I'll tell you what, in a post-Brady Patriots environment, I wouldn't be opposed to bringing in a veteran quarterback or trading for someone later on. I'm talking like a couple of years down the road.
Yeah.
So, I like sure things. I don't like the unknown, And
when it comes
to quarterback, I need to be sure, There's only very few times in history where that's worked out, where the Packers, they had Aaron Rodgers, right? But they also had him for 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew. It's not like it was some big secret. They had him for 3 years. And then, and Mike McCarthy, Mike McCarthy fixed Aaron. So he's the one that he fixed his mechanics. His mechanics were garbage when he got drafted. That's why he didn't go first overall. That's, everyone always says.
Talk about that now, don't they?
Nobody ever talks about that. Alex Smith went number 1 because he was more pro ready. He just had all of his mechanics and everything was together. He just went to a bad situation. Okay? That's what happens when you go number 1. And then when you drop in the draft, like Aaron did, you go to a better team. And then what happens? You get better coaching, you get better experience, and you sit behind a Brett Favre. You're never going to sit behind a Brett Favre being the number 1 pick overall. Because if you had a Brett Favre, you wouldn't be the number 1 pick overall on that team. That's how it goes. Alex Smith finally gets a good coach with Jim Harbaugh, and all of a sudden it's like, oh,
he does know how to play football.
He does know how to play. It's just everyone before him his coaches were retard, and that's how it goes, man. If I was a quarterback, I wouldn't want to be number one, especially with the way the CBA is now. It used to be where if you were number one overall pick, you were going to get like $50 million guaranteed. All of a sudden, it's not like that anymore. I would rather just be like brought in, pick like number 15 or later. Middle. I think that'd be good. Yeah, middle to late round, that would be perfect because you're going to be on a good team, and and learn behind a quarterback. So if I could sit behind someone like Tom Brady or somebody like that, that would be awesome. But I would not want to be number one. I don't envy Joe Burrow right now. Joe Burrow, and that if the Bengals draft him, his life's over. His career is over. Yeah. It's finished.
100%.
Yeah, he's going to have to pull an Eli Manning now. So, yeah. I mean, I don't like it, and I don't agree with it, but the Bengals is probably the worst organization in the NFL, and that is including, let's see. No, the Bengals are the worst organization in the NFL, I think. No, because Dan Snyder, at least Dan Snyder, he'll spend money. Okay? The guy isn't cheap. Like,
he's usually on the wrong guy.
He just spends money incorrectly, but at least he shows, look, I'm trying. I just am bad with spending my money. But the Bengals, they don't even do that.
They don't do that. That's true.
No. They spend money, yeah.
They don't.
I mean, when Carson Palmer, who played almost his whole career there, says you do not want to go to that. I mean, that tells you everything.
That's ridiculous.
Carson Palmer says
that in my life.
Imagine Tom Brady coming out in like 10 years and saying you do not want to go to New England. That'd be like, what in the world's going on here?
What happened behind the scenes? Like, what? That's a scoop.
Yeah. Well, you know what we know about the Spanos family, right? With the Chargers.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. I did a lot of research with them. It was very interesting how they just, besides the city basically just completely shitting on their own fans, but Spanos was trying to be one of the cool kids, one of the owners, talking about, oh, I matter. I can go to a big market, and then here's a problem now in LA. Nobody cares about the Chargers over there. Nobody cares about the Chargers over there. You basically burn your entire bridge between another city and fan base wants nothing to do with you anymore. Like, there's no way he's able to go back to San Diego. There's no way they can go back to San Diego. He basically just burned everything from them. It's sad. It sucks.
I live in West Hollywood. I just happen to be in Bulgaria right now, but normally that's where I live. And I can tell you right now that nobody wants the Chargers. In fact, it's not that nobody wants the Chargers. It's that nobody even knows they're there.
Yeah,
it's one thing. Yeah. It's one thing for someone to be aware of you and then say, "I just don't like you." But no, it's not even that. It's like we don't even know you exist. It's like, who gives a crap, And that's terrible. Now, what they should have done from the very beginning is fine. You want to leave San Diego, whatever. That's your prerogative. I think it's stupid. I think the Chargers is San Diego. That's like synonymous. They're one and the same. But if you want to leave, they should have been the ones to go to Vegas.
I agree.
Yeah.
LA is a Raiders town. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, I agree.
And right now, it's more of a Raiders town than it is Rams. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
I mean, so whose idea was it to do this? I just.
My God. They were saying that Jerry Jones had a big say in them going to LA, and it's like, I'm just speaking. The city of Los Angeles lost teams twice already. You already lost teams already. You lost the Chargers the first time, which nobody remembers that. You got the Raiders and the Rams there, and they left. So it's like, is LA really an NFL football town? Like I said, if you're not the Lakers or the Dodgers, I mean, LA doesn't really care. Like, I don't know, speaking. I mean, the Angels were good for a little bit, but now they it's bad. But It's too much stuff. What I've heard, there's too much stuff to do in LA. It's too, like they say, if you're not winning, it's like, why do we care? Why do y'all care? But I think the Raiders should have. It would have been much easier. The fan base is already there. That entire region loved the Raiders. It was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why didn't you just keep them there? At least you have to worry about the opposing fans from other teams selling out your stadium, a soccer stadium. It's embarrassing. Seriously, the Rams too. Like the Rams can barely fill up that Coliseum, and then they do like most of other people's fans. Like it's terrible. It's terrible.
Dude, I went to a Rams game this last season. Went to see the Rams and Saints. Half the stadium were Saints fans. Like Saints fans in LA? I mean, whoa. So LA does have football fans. They're just football fans of every other team. They're everyone's a transplant, okay? Mm-hmm. So there's not going to be any loyalty. And look, the Rams went to the Super Bowl and almost beat the New England Patriots, and nobody cared. Nobody in LA cared, I can tell you that. Nobody cared. Okay, so what are the Chargers' chances? Okay, if the Rams, which Rams have a history there, if they couldn't even get any love and they went to the Super Bowl, it's a disaster, it's a failure, and they won't admit it. So it's they're going to be moving again, and they're going to end up somewhere in a city that used to have football. They're going to end up being like the Oakland Chargers. Like in 10 years, the city of Oakland will probably rebuild itself or whatever. You know how things like this work. Or they'll end up in some other city that used to have a football team. It'll just be something weird. Yeah, St. Louis or some weird place that like freaks us out, and we're like, what? Like Columbus, Ohio, or some weird place that no one's thinking about, you know, or Columbus, Louisville, Kentucky, or like Little Rock. I mean, it's just some weird city that no one's thought about. San Antonio, for example, or even El Paso, Texas. Hell, El Paso could probably support the Chargers better than LA would. Albuquerque, New Mexico, the Albuquerque Chargers. I mean, they'd be so happy to have a pro team that the whole city would probably be there. It'd probably be like Green Bay, where the attendance at a Green Bay game is larger than the population of Green Bay. So it's like, you know, one of those things. But anyway, my main point was, so we all know how the Spanos family is, right?
Yes.
So now we look back in 2004. Now we kind of see why Eli's dad didn't want him going there. He knew something before everyone else. Now listen, this is the same family that got rid of Drew Brees.
Yep.
You see how that worked out?
Yep. They got rid of Drew Brees. Pretty good over there.
I remember when that happened, and Drew Brees was an up-and-comer at the time. He'd been around a couple of years, I think 3 years or something like that, and then they up and let him go. And then all of a sudden Brees is talking to Miami, and I'm like, wait, who are they gonna? They're gonna put Rivers in, the dude they just drafted. I was like, wow, okay. And anyone who says that was a good move is an idiot. It wasn't a good move. Just because Rivers gave you some competent quarterback play, what does that mean? I mean, Drew Brees is going to end up being a top 10 all time, probably, you know. So what good did Rivers do for you? Now he's gone. And so Eli's dad, Archie, must have known or saw something that the rest of us wouldn't see for a few years later. It came out later. You know, like what did LaDainian Tomlinson say? Remember, did you see LT's interview?
Yeah, I did. He said that they stole the management basically stole Super Bowls from them because they were incompetent and putting people there. And he's right. He's right. They had a lot of good teams during the year. Like 07, there was 14-2, 2007. They had a great team. They lost. Lost to the undefeated Patriots that year. But there were a lot of years where they were competent. Like, there may be a problem, Super Bowl contender, and they find a way to mess it up.
Well, look at 2006, right? And you see what the quarterback they let go, what he did for a city, literally rebuilt a city.
Yeah.
And you had a 14-2 team with the league MVP, right? Imagine if that quarterback who literally resurrected the city that was literally underwater, what you would have with that. Yeah.
If you had Breeze and LT,
against a
Super Bowl.
easy Chicago team who was trash, low key. But yeah.
Now listen, think about this. This is also the same people who fired Marty Schottenheimer after going 15-1.
For Nerve Turner.
What?
North Turner.
I don't think that will ever happen again, where a coach will go 15-1 and get fired for it. I mean, that just shows you what what that organization is and how they think and what they are, and they're always going to be the little embarrassing little brother of LA. The Rams will always have something there because they have a history. There will always be something for them there, but the Chargers have nobody. They have nothing. The only thing they're good for is for people who can't afford to go see an NFL game. They'll go to see the Chargers because the Chargers will have to slash your ticket prices.
Yeah.
So that's about it.
That's sad.
It's pathetic.
That's
it really
absolutely sad.
Especially if you had stayed in San Diego and done everything right, you eventually would have got a stadium and a new one because they did need one. What's Qualcomm's like 40 years old, right?
Yeah. The thing I understand with them was that they was trying to blame the fans and the people for the taxpayers in San Diego for not paying for it. But it's like you make so much money, like billions of dollars. If they really wanted to, you could have built your own stadium with your own money and then made so much money back. But it's like I don't understand why. And then the NFL tries to bully these cities and say, oh, if you don't buy a new stadium, Super Bowl won't come to your city, or some stuff like that. Because they have this infatuation with warm weather cities or brand new dome stadiums, brand new state of the art stadiums, and it's like you make so much money. Like, why do you feel that you want the taxpayers to foot the bill? Like, look at St. Louis. St. Louis is still paying for the Edward Jones Dome, and no one's playing there. An XFL team's playing there. And even so, they were still willing to build a Riverside Stadium in St. Louis, and the Rams still left. Like, how you paying for a stadium for a team that's not even there anymore? It doesn't make any sense. Like, a lot of these owners, a lot of times, like, listen, I don't know how you're trying to like handcuff these cities to foot a bill for a stadium. It doesn't make any sense. Like, Oakland is a prime example. Oakland just lost the Golden State Warriors and they lost the Oakland Raiders. And they were going to lose the Athletics if Rob Manfred said, if you don't build a stadium, we're leaving too. So it's like, I don't understand. I understand. They could build their own stadium if they wanted to, but I don't understand why they want to do it.
It's ridiculous. Now, listen, if you're an owner, okay, and no, Dean Spanos isn't liquid capital. He's not rich enough to build the stadium by himself, okay? That's obvious. But the NFL has a program, too, where they will invest and other owners will invest, but they'll make it back. You'll make the money back. Like you just said, okay? You build a stadium in San Diego out of your, you get your own funding, you get investors and things like that. If you can just get like 70 to 80% of it, the taxpayers will front the rest of it. They will pay it. They will. Almost any city council will say, okay, so you don't even need 100%. You don't even need that. You just need to show that you're taking the majority of the hit, right? You get one Super Bowl hosted there, and you're already starting to replenish the coffers. Yep. You're already starting to. And no, they left because they didn't give a crap. They left because they're just piece of crap idiots. And the reason I call them idiots is because it was a bad business move. It was a bad financial move. And they can say whatever they want, that the team value rose because of it. No, the team value only rose because the NFL is in LA, not because the Chargers are in LA. There's a difference there, Mm-hmm. That's it. They know that the Super Bowl is going to be in that stadium eventually. Next few years, right? And it's going to keep coming back and keep coming back. That's why the value of your team went up. It's because of the stadium that you're going to be in. And they don't. It's amazing that the NFL even let this happen. But, hey, you know what? Everyone hates the Patriots and everybody hates these NFL teams for making the taxpayers. Mr. Kraft paid for our stadium.
Yes, he did.
So isn't he the only owner who owns the stadium? And Jerry owns Jerry World, right? Most of it, yeah. But that's it, right? And the rest of them they relied on taxpayer funding, and for most of it, I think. But people hate the Patriots, but there's a lot of things about us. People complain. They say they don't like greedy athletes, but yet they hate Tom. They don't like athletes who take up all the cap, but yet all of our players never get max dollars almost never. But you hate us, right? They say that they hate owners who are greedy. Well, our owner paid for the stadium. They said they hate players who don't earn it and don't work hard and just think that they deserve everything. Well, that's Tom.
Ask Cassius Marsh about that. Aren't we not fun, right?
Yeah, Cassius Marsh.
Ask Lane Johnson. We're not fun, right?
Yeah.
We're boot camp, right? Well, where's the hard work at?
It's worked 20 years. So why not?
It's just saying I don't understand, but everything that we are as an organization is what people say that they don't like about pro sports. We're the anti version of that, and yet everyone hates us. It's very bizarre,
Hypocrisy is at its highest, 100%.
It's one of the symptoms of BDS. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Are we up to a new grade with that now? I think the last thing I remember was like grade 4. Is it like a 5 or 6 now?
No. Well, there's a grade 5, but it's called Stage Rob Parker. So instead of a number, it's like it's technically 5, but it's Rob Parker is what it's called. So
that's on its own, because that guy is a different breed. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He might be another inspiration for me because I hated listening to him so much back in the early part of the decade. I think I almost broke my TV once. Forgot what he said. I think it was before 2014, before the he's not good anymore, all the shit. Like it was before that.
You're probably referring to either the after we lost to the Giants in 2011, he will never win another. No, he'll never be back in another Super Bowl. No way, no how. That happened in 2012, or the racist rant he had against RG3. And then he got fired for it. It's like, who would touch him with a 10-foot pole after that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand that. That bugged me out too. All right, so Mr. Californian. We're going to be doing the free agency for the NFC West now. And since half of them are in your state, and we were just talking about one of them, let's do this. I did an order based on division, so
finish, yeah.
Yeah, so first going to be San Francisco. So this will be quick because there's not that many holes, but there are a little bit of them. So for what I have, they have $13 million in the cap, according to overthecap.com. So the holes that I have for them is going to be wide receiver, safety, cornerback, guard, and offensive tackle.
Okay.
Yeah, since Emmanuel Sanders is a free agent and they don't have a single veteran there anymore, they may need that. So he was very productive. The only productive guy I saw there was Deebo Samuel. Pretty good rookie, but he is a second year now. There is no veteranship in there, and that's a big problem to me. I always believe that one team needs at least that one older guy that knows what they're doing for the most part versus a bunch of kids together. And I don't think they have much depth there either, if I'm not mistaken. So they really need to work on that. Safety, Jimmy Ward is also a free agent for them. So they need to get someone there too, and particularly someone who can cover, because I kind of think I'm seeing the lack of that in the NFL. I don't see many coverage safeties anymore.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of big hitters.
I know.
It's kind of pissing me off. So they probably should get that. And if you watch, the Super Bowl, seeing, people catching 30-yard, 40-yard passes in the fourth quarter, they probably should get a deep coverage safety and stop stuff like that, don't you think? So, yeah, they should do that. And a cornerback, because Richard Sherman's deal, I believe, is done next year in 2021, and he's over 30. So they should probably do something about that very soon. And plus, their other corners suck. They allowed over 50% completions, each one of them. And they allowed over 8 touchdowns, each one of them. Like combined, not each one of them, because that would be, the worst thing we've ever seen. They wouldn't have been the Super Bowl if they did that. But they allowing, this is all stats according to ProFootballReference.com. I always like to, cite, like if this is college, that you gotta, yeah. So I just cite that. So for the rest, I just said offensive guard and tackle, especially tackle, because Joe Staley's getting to the other side too, and he's been showing a decent amount of injuries as of late. So they should probably get new offensive tackle. But there's not that many holes. So I just remember something that you can never have enough offensive line depth. Since obviously nowhere else on defense they don't need anything. Like defensive line is the best in the NFL and everyone is there. So they don't know. So
if you can protect your quarterback, if you're the best at that, protecting your quarterback and making holes for your running back, you're going to guarantee yourself to be a contender every year, no matter what.
Exactly. It's never
unless you just really implode. Unless you just do something insanely stupid like the Cowboys, you're going to be there. Okay, you're going to be a threat. So I agree with you there. As far as Richard Sherman, you said keep him, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay. But you said he's going to expire, so you want to bring in someone. So so I agree with you then. So make sure we're on the same page. So yeah, you don't want to get rid of Sherman because of one game. Okay, that one game, he was exposed for something we already knew he couldn't do, and also Sherman was covered up a lot during the season by the fact that the defensive line was getting to the quarterback so fast that the quarterbacks were panicking and throwing stuff up and throwing, it covers for that. Okay. The reason it didn't work in the Super Bowl is because Mahomes' credit in the third and fourth quarter, he just kept getting away. Yeah. I mean, how many times did Joey Bosa have him in his grasp? Like by that much. It just barely missed him. Okay. And normally Bosa would get there. Now, if Mahomes is just a tad bit slower, Mahomes is going down or he's throwing a erratic throw, and then all of a sudden Sherman's not exposed. Okay? So that changes all that right there. And so 49ers is a perfect example right now of if it ain't broke, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. They're the ultimate right now as far as any team across the board. They're that, but there's always things you want to improve, like you said. Wide receiver, absolutely. Also, they're going to need that money to sign rookies, unless they want to go through free agency and stuff. And I think drafting. Honestly, I think using their first round pick on a defensive back and put him with Richard Sherman
would be great.
Would be brilliant. That would be a good idea.
That's your mentor right there. Exactly right.
Also, running the ball makes your defense that much better. So they went away from that. Okay, in the third and fourth quarter, they stopped running the ball, and now all of a sudden, what happens? Your defense is out there all day chasing Mahomes all over the field, or chasing Tyreek all over the field, or Travis Kelce. Well, you're gonna get tired. That's gonna start to expose you. So
human nature.
It's a coaching thing too. But the 49ers are as far as all over the board, and you said it at the very beginning, they're across the board. They're the most already ready to go back if they don't screw it up. So, yeah.
One thing I was thinking for them, though, is I forgot about Marquise Goodwin. They still have him under contract. So I wonder what they're going to do about that, because he is taking a little bit of pay. I think it's like $7 to $9 million coming off the cap for him this year. So I wonder if they can try to move him, or they're going to try to do something. Yeah, something like that. It's pretty big for someone who I don't even know what he is. He had a broken leg, I think, and he's a speedster. I don't know how that's going to affect him. And I think he's going to be 29 though, or he is 29. Which one of the two? So I wonder if they do anything about him.
That's a good.
Just a thought.
Well, because if you can get out of that. Because you remember, if they cut them, then there's dead money and all that garbage too. So you've got to find an area where you got to replace them. Who are you going to get for a certain amount where it makes sense to accept the dead money? Which means you're going to have to bring in someone who's around $5 or $6 million probably. And if that person's out there, then go for it. Emmanuel Sanders, if you can get him one more year on a good deal, okay? Because I think I think he would have been a lot better. He just came in the midseason, okay? And Mike Shanahan. I always want to call Kyle Mike, okay? I grew up watching Mike Shanahan coach the 49ers as their coordinator, and then the Broncos. I always want to call him that. But Kyle has a complex offense. It's so...
That's true.
Give Sanders time, and I'm a big believer in veteran experience sometimes can be more important in the locker room than their play on the field.
That's exactly my point, 100%.
Yeah. if you can get him for a good deal, I think people are bailing on Sanders too quickly just based off a few things. And by the way, that throw, that missed throw, that Jimmy to Sanders that everyone's crapping on Jimmy about, that wasn't a missed throw. Have you watched that again? Did you watch that closely, everything that went on that play?
I'm about to in a minute. I have Game Pass right on my phone.
Jimmy threw that in the right spot. It's just Sanders was held. Straight up held. And that's why he wasn't there.
I got more homework to do then. I can't wait to watch this tape in a minute.
Yeah,
all right.
So go check that out again.
Definitely going to.
So Sanders, but I'm just saying, if that play happens, if he doesn't get held, Jimmy hits him and they win the Super Bowl, Emmanuel Sanders, we're talking about him as one of the greatest free agent or greatest acquisitions of the 2019 season. You see how the narrative changes with one catch, one play? Yeah. So let's not freak out just because that play didn't happen. He still got something to offer. So I'll tell you what, I would have taken him. I would trade him, go back in time. I'd take him still over Mohamed Sanu. Okay?
Me too.
In a second. So, pump the brakes on not you guys, but I mean everyone else. Pump the brakes.
Third string receiver in Cincy when he was in his prime. So what the hell is he going to do over Emmanuel Sanders, who was a starter? It makes no sense. Look, I don't want to get upset. Let's continue going on.
I know, me too.
Yeah. We want the Seattle Seahawks. They have actually a pretty decent cap. Their cap is $51 million, which I didn't see coming.
That is fantastic because Russell Wilson probably has back problems right now because he was carrying that offense. And
well, speaking of back problems, you already know the first two positions I'm thinking at. Guard and tackle. Since according to Pro Football Focus, because I like them when it comes to offensive line, because they usually study each specific person on the line, because that's one of the harder things to judge. They ranked that offensive line 27th overall. Mind you, they said they liked their run blocking, so that's how abysmal their pass blocking was, which we all knew was coming for the last 5 years has been that way. So we saw that coming, but this year was interesting.
That's why I was telling everybody Russell Wilson was MVP. Russell Wilson was MVP.
No question.
He was out there alone. Man. And alone. And my God, if Russell's on Baltimore with the way they schemed around around him, if they had morphed their team around him the way they did for Lamar, imagine that. Okay, it's just
to the Super Bowl. Kansas City's not beating them if they had Russell Wilson the quarterback because he throws a billion times better than Lamar Jackson. It's not a question. No. Let me not get started on Baltimore either. I can't wait to. Anyway.
I knew they'd be exposed though. So
yeah, let me go defensive end. I have third actually.
So what are they doing with? Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
For defensive end because when I watched, especially the later end of the year, I watched their defense closely and I didn't know they didn't have any pass rush at all. Like Clowney was okay at it, but he was better at clogging up the run. They have no pass rush. And back in their Legion of Boom days, they did have a small one with Averill and Bennett, and they never replaced that. Then again, of course, they don't have that ridiculous secondary either with Sherman and Thomas and Chancellor and Maxwell. But you still need some type of pass rush. Where was it? There was none. I don't get it. Look at that Green Bay game, especially. Aaron Rodgers had, a hammock, was in palm trees, chilling, waiting for passes to go through. They got disturbed somehow. They did not do that at all. Using numbers, I don't like using that much, but using numbers, the only person that had anywhere close to 30 pressures was Clowney. Everybody else was 16 and below for a 16-game stretch, which is absolutely abysmal.
That's awful, and especially when you're in a division like the NFC West. Now, but again, as much as I love, everyone knows I'm a big Russell Wilson fan, but this is what happens when you make the decision to give your quarterback all that. You made a statement that we are now an offensive team. Well, that's what you got to do now.
Yep.
So you can't half-ass have a defensive team put together while paying your quarterback that money. It's really just all or nothing. So you're going to have to focus now on hoping that Russell Wilson is like Patrick Mahomes and he's going to outscore and cover up for how bad your defense sucks, And that's really, so what they're doing is they're in no man's land. They're like, oh, we want to pay Russell Wilson, but we want our defense to be good. We want the Legion of Boom back, but we also have to pay Russell. You can't.
No.
You made your bed, now you got to lie in it and go for it. And that's what you've got to be now. And that's their problem. They're trying to be both. And they thought Clowney was going to suddenly make them the old Seahawks and that would change everything. And it's not realistic, man.
It was dumb. Like, why would Houston give him up if he was that powerful to begin with? So,
and not only that, injury problems. But I'll tell you something about injuries, though. Have you noticed that certain teams have more injuries than other teams?
Oh yeah,
it's got to be something to do with them, like the medical staff, huh?
Like the Chargers, for example. Like, happens a lot.
This has got to be a medical staff incompetency.
Bless you. That was random.
And I just think, that's.
Yeah, because how you
Houston had that problem
like that.
So,
I don't understand how. Yeah, the rest of the things I got is basically the rest of the defense, cornerback and linebacker, more for depth. Because their corners are okay, but they're just okay, and that's not good enough. But again, what did we talk about the last 2 minutes? How am I supposed to be able to, replace my corners, the great ones, if I don't have that? So
you're not. It's not going to happen. So
that's why they really should focus on the bum two linemen. Get me linemen, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yep.
Let me see.
That's what you've got to be. You've decided to pay your quarterback as if he is the 07 version of Brady or something, okay? Yeah. And that's what you paid him like. So now you've got to live by that. And
Brandon Sheriff is available. Just saying, one of the better guards in the NFL coming out of Washington. I'm sure after what happened to Trent Williams, he may want to run away from there.
Yeah.
So maybe they should. They have $53 million. How about you go get him and get your line bolstered up? That's a thought. It's a try. Why not?
For $53 million, you can build up the offensive line. You can get Russell some targets, and then use the draft for nothing but defense. And hopefully you hit. Hopefully you get some good dudes. Make some deals. Do whatever you got to do. If I'm Pete Carroll, Pete Carroll's older than Belichick, right? And
yes.
If I'm Pete Carroll, I'll just say, listen, trade future picks or whatever. I don't care. Let's just load up. And Russell, we got Wilson. We got this locked in. Let's just go for it. Let's just go hardcore. That's what I would do if I was Carroll. And I think he has that kind of clout in our organization.
He does. He does, and he's pretty good at drafting in the lower levels of the draft anyway, like 4, 5, 6 rounds. He could probably get somebody to plug in, from there. Mm-hmm. So if anyone can do it, it's definitely him. No question about that. So they're in decent shape, but they need to get Russell Wilson some blocking, like in a desperate way, and they'll be all right. Next, this was the hardest team for me to do as of yet, and that's the Los Angeles Rams. Their cap is $14 million. I called them purgatory.
So said that in early episodes. Actually said that too.
They're purgatory.
They are.
I don't.
Like I just said a while ago about no man's land. It's like you're stuck in the middle, and purgatory. Exactly.
They are.
You just can't do that. You've got to commit. If you're stuck in the middle, you're gonna. It's just not gonna work. And they already started bad by that trade they made.
Yeah.
Okay. So why was that done? I just... Did you agree with it?
Well, I'm indifferent. Because you're talking about the Cooks one, right? Are you talking about?
No. I'm talking about Jalen Ramsey.
Oh, the Ramsey? Oh, from last year?
Yeah. Yeah, because see, now that's going to matter. That's going to matter. Yeah.
But this is a guy, in order for this trade not to look stupid, they have to pay this guy. And I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know what they're going to do in order for that to happen. And I don't know why they made such a desperate move. And what's funny about that desperate move is that it didn't change you that much. It really didn't. So why? Why did you think you have to? I don't know, dude.
Dude, the dude they sent to the Ravens ended up playing better than Ramsey.
Yes,
Marcus Peters.
Clearly, Marcus wasn't the reason. Clearly, Marcus wasn't the problem. Okay, so you got to think about what your flaws are. And the last time I checked, that Rams, the one of the strengths of the team was offense. And you had a great coordinator, which was Wade Phillips, to cover up for a lot of those players on defense that were a little more overblown. Look what happened. The moment you lost Ndamukong Suh, what happened to Aaron Donald?
Oh, he was
double teamed.
Easily double
And
teamed. There's no one on the line.
He's useless. He's useless now, right? So all that money is going to him for uselessness. So this is organizational decisions. It's biting them in the butt. But listen, a lot of times when teams lose the Super Bowl, they freak out.
Yeah. That hangover is real.
It's like they go crazy and start to mess with things that they shouldn't. And that's what I say about the 49ers. They don't do that. I mean, think about it.
Better not do that.
The Patriots are the only team in recent history who lost and came right back and actually didn't really mix it up at all. They just said, okay, we know what we did wrong, and we're going to fix it schematically, make a few changes here and there. But they didn't do anything drastic. And then they come back and win.
That's trade. They're a good organization.
Right. Seattle lost that second one, and look what happened to them. Okay? Not that Seattle has gone away, but it did. They were on Dynasty trajectory, I think.
They were. But then, they were kind of raw around defense, though. And I guess those personalities kind of blew up after that, bad call in the 1 yard line or whatever.
Had they won it. But had they won it, they were on that way. So I understand that. But look at the Falcons. Falcons just freaked out after that and was garbage, and they didn't even make the playoffs. It's just teams cannot. This Super Bowl hangover thing is real. And a lot of times it happens to the winners, too. The winners get complacent like the Eagles did. So let me tell you something. After a guy comes in and wins me the Super Bowl, we're going to keep that guy for a while, okay? Because whatever you think about Nick Foles somewhere else is irrelevant. A quarterback can be judged and is only as good as what he's doing on a particular team. For some reason, on the Eagles, the dynamic worked for Nick Foles.
It did.
They believed in him. They believed in him almost in a weird, way. Do you remember how the Broncos team believed that Tim Tebow was, winning games because he, they felt it. They, believed in him. So no matter how bad Tebow was on the field, they were winning.
Yeah, strangely enough, yeah.
It's kind of like how the Eagles felt about Foles, but Foles is an infinitely better quarterback than Tim Tebow. But the spirit's there. They don't feel that for Carson Wentz, But what do? They freak out and they give Carson Wentz all that money and everything, and it's like, why? Why would you do that? And look where they're at. I mean, they won their division by default. How pathetic is that? Somebody had to be the best loser. Somebody had to be the best loser of the NFC East, and that's how they get in. That's not exactly something to brag about, all right? And now Nick Foles is on the Jaguars, and he's basically worthless there. It's all about where you're at and what you can do. And for the Eagles, he's this. For everyone else, he's this.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's like sometimes players need a different start. Maybe Carson Wentz belongs somewhere else. Ryan Tannehill, garbage in Miami. Tennessee seemed to be where it works for him. Alex Smith, in Kansas City, I never seen him better than as when he was in Kansas City. So it's just something like that, But that hangover is real, dude.
100%. So the only things I have, they have a couple of holes that they can't fix, but I'll just say them out anyway. Apparently, offensive line, which I actually did see the minute Pro Football Focus pointed it out in like October, their line did suck bad. Now they pointed it out. I didn't watch many Rams games. They're ranked, according to them, 31st.
Oh yeah. Goff probably got 10 concussions this year. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I felt bad for the guy. I mean, he's a good quarterback. You just got to give him a chance. So
yeah. Whitworth,
I mean, he's not $100 million quarterback, but
no. Yeah. But Whitworth is ancient, so they should probably get a new left tackle like now.
Yeah.
And the one lineman that Focus completely obliterated was Rob Havenstein, their right tackle. They said that he went from really good in 2018 to God, like devil awful into last year. So they need to get new tackles according to them. That's basically it because they can't really form anything. I said cornerback because their corners do suck outside of Jalen Ramsey because they got rid of Peters in them. And safety because Eric Weddle retired and they don't really have anybody else safety either. But again, they can't fix that. Yeah. And Greg Zuerlein's free agent, so they should probably think about doing something about that too.
Evidently, he turned out to be pretty important. But the Cardinals.
That's exactly that.
I would love to have Chandler back.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind a real defensive end. Never replaced him.
Could you imagine?
Trey Flowers was good, but we never replaced him.
I mean, go back and watch Super Bowl 49 that season over again, or Do Your Job, or the America's game for that. That team, look at that roster. Look at the names on that roster. It is just knowing what we know now. Like we knew that those guys were good. We knew Jamie Collins was good, Dante Hightower was good, Chandler Jones. We knew they were good. But now, in 2020, we know just how epic they are. And look, that's what we had. That was that team. Right. It took that team to beat that Seahawks team. That's what it took. You know? My God. I mean, but Chandler, I understand why he's too expensive.
No, he's expensive. And he's worth the money. So
he's worth the money, but
yeah.
He's one of those players that's like LT, okay? He's a freelance guy. You're supposed to just let him do what he wants, and he can get you a lot of sacks. But with the Patriots, we're more of a complementary system. So our defense, no one is ever a standout, normally. There's no guy that's just going to, kill the stat sheet, all of a sudden out of nowhere. It just doesn't happen. Everyone's kind of just like one machine, and that's why we win a lot. So I get it, but God, I'd love to have Chandler back. He was one of our my favorite players when we had him.
Me too.
So
the minute we drafted him in 2012, I'm like, yo, this dude is nice. Like, who is this guy? I like him more than Hightower. And Hightower we don't do anything with Hightower. We already know that. But I love Chandler just coming out the draft too. I was so happy when we got him. And then the first game, him and Hightower do together and against the Titans. Strip sack touchdown. I'm like, oh yes, this is magic.
It felt good. That was 2012, right?
That's 2012. Yeah,
drafted him. Yeah,
that was so nice. But he's in Cardinals, huh? By himself.
Well, the Cardinals' problems. Let's see, Cardinals' problems. Their quarterback is 5'1". That's some of the Cardinals' problems, and that's not going to change.
Oh yeah, he's making fun of him and Kingsbury for a while. I forgot to tell you that.
Oh yeah, like a couple of friends of mine, shout out to Leo. He used to always call Kingsbury Splitsbury. Like I know this is bad. It's like he just. Me personally, came into the league. I'm like, I don't know how this air raid thing's gonna work in the league. I just think that me personally, them firing Steve Wilkes after one year was stupid. Then again, you have that all these things do stupid things was like so I was kind of like I don't know, but for the most part they've won 5-6 games this year, so can't get they only global up. But I don't know, me personally, I didn't think that Kyler Murray was like someone that they should draft it, but I get why they did it because honestly I don't know why they did it for. Honestly, it was just dumb.
They didn't like Rosen and I think they wanted a new type of quarterback. I don't think Rosen would have went well with the coach, so they wanted a guy who can move around. That had to be the only reason.
I felt bad for Rosen. Rosen has really gotten a really raw deal in his career so far. I feel bad for the guy. I can't feel bad for him.
Here's the problem with the Kyler Murray issue, okay? With one decision to get Kyler Murray, everything was built around that, right?
Yeah.
Kyler Murray costed you 2 first-round picks because he costed you Josh Rosen because you had to get rid of him for nothing, okay? So you're not only are you saying Kyler Murray is worth the first overall pick, you're saying he's worth the first overall pick and the previous first rounder that you had.
2 top 10 picks. I think he was drafted 10.
So,
if I'm not mistaken.
Is he worth that? No. Okay. So, but that's not where it ends. You fired your coach after 1 year, and you're gonna have to pay him. So you're paying him right now to sit at home or whatever whatever he's doing at the moment. Okay. So, and now you got a new guy, an unproven guy. So all of that was all done just to get one little quarterback. So he better be the next Dan Marino, next John Elway, next Steve Young, whatever it is, okay? For that price, he has to be nothing less than a Hall of Famer. This dude is never winning a Super Bowl, much less going to the Hall of Fame. And that's where the problem is for me. And
hot take.
Yeah.
You've been saying this for a while, though. Hot take.
I said it from the very beginning.
Yeah,
I graded. He was the worst. He was my worst graded quarterback of the draft. The absolute worst. There was nobody that graded for me. I have my own system, and he just graded awful and everything. Not everything, but I mean like the things that matter to me. And hey, if I'm wrong, then good for him. That means he did something extraordinary, but it's not going to happen. Not only is he at a disadvantage because of the obvious things about him, his coach sucks, okay? And his organization is, not a very good organization, okay? And no, it's just, and they've given up too much just to get one guy. It's not there. It's not in the cards. It's just, no pun intended, it's not in the cards, but it's not, So
2 top 10 picks for one guy.
And paying 2 coaches' salaries.
Yeah.
Because you had to get rid of Wilkes because Kingsbury was a package deal with Kyler. So
yeah. They basically came in together to pay all that for both of them. That's wonderful. Well,
if you don't have any plans to ever get Kyler Murray, and you're just going to stick with Josh Rosen, then all you have to do now is you bring in somebody to work with Josh to complement him, and then that first pick overall now goes. Here's what you do: you don't even use it; you trade it.
Trade down.
Trade it. 100%. You turn that into a bunch of picks, and then build up your team. I mean, this is just the most mind-numbingly idiotic decision I've ever seen by a team in one moment. In one single decision, everything has been completely altered. It's crazy, man. It's just unbelievable. What they could have done, So
the number one, and Kyler was rated so high to everybody too. That number 1 pick was beyond valuable last year.
You could have got a lot for it, man. You could have got a ton of picks. You guys remember what the Cowboys did when they traded Herschel Walker, to the Vikings for all those picks. They made a dynasty out of it, man. And
they drafted a dynasty because of that, yes.
And see, the reason I bring that up is because they already had Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
And they were coming off, what was it, like a 1-15 season?
Yeah.
Okay.
Putrid.
And Aikman was awful. Okay. So, but they saw, wait, let's not get another quarterback. We think Aikman can play. Let's just build around him and see what happens. Take care of him. That's what I saw in the Cardinals. It's like they had their Aikman, they had Rosen, just build around and turn that number 1 overall into a bunch of stuff. It was right in their hands, dude. It's just a bad idea. and now they're going to eat this. They're going to spend the next in 3 years they're going to be looking for another quarterback again.
You know what kills me too? Oakland had like 3 first-round picks last year too. They could have gotten probably 2 of those because Oakland would have, no question to me, stupidly drafted Kyler Murray to get him that first pick.
They would have.
So you, yeah. So you got at
probably
2 first-round picks in that one draft right there. But look, I love Arizona since they make me laugh. But they do have other holes though that are actually mind-bogglingly bad. They have $39 billion in cap, by the way. Mind you, they barely don't have that much talent, but they.
Wow, I'm shocked they don't have more. They usually.
That's what I'm saying. So it's interesting. But cornerback is, to me, the number one thing they need by far. It's their cornerback situation is really, really bad, and that includes Patrick Peterson. He was not good last year.
Wait! You mean the guy that 5 years ago went on Twitter and made fun of Tom?
Yeah.
Called him a cheater, right?
Yeah.
And then
of the game.
What happened to Peterson? Didn't he get suspended?
He got suspended for something. What was it? Oh, cheating. Yeah.
I went to his Twitter, man, and I trolled the hell out of him.
Oh no, you go crazy. Do
you remember?
Rob Parker got blocked. It was Rob Parker that got blocked, right?
Rob Parker blocked me. Shannon Sharp blocked me. Chris Sims Chris Sims used a burner account.
Oh, he went Kevin Durant on you?
He went Kevin Durant on me on my YouTube videos about him. It's so pathetic. Why didn't he just invite me to a show or call in and debate him? What? I mean, what a coward.
I don't think he wants to do you any favors. That's why he's gonna take all his fans.
Well, it would do me a favor. It would definitely help me. But if I'm him though, and like even right now, if someone made a bunch of videos slamming me, and I thought that it's not true, I'll say, come on, okay, I want you right now. I want you up here, and we're gonna do this in front of everybody, and I'm gonna show this guy. Either I'm gonna get my butt kicked in the debate, or I'm gonna embarrass him, one or the other. But let's do it. But why would Chris do that? He's got a cushy job. Nobody challenges him. They protect him. He can say whatever he wants, and there's no blowback because he doesn't have to face the fans. He doesn't have to face anyone. And
he's
a coward. But he clearly was bothered by what I was saying. But it wasn't man enough to actually do something about it. So
shame on me for thinking he was.
Yeah. One day someone will answer me. One day, I think. Well, maybe not. Who knows? Probably not. I've only had one person ever call my show. Ever. And I always invite everyone who calls me names or whatever, anyone who argues with me or something, I say, call the show. You're more than welcome. It's not a hostile environment. I'm not going to be mean to you or nothing. I'm not going to set you up or bombard you. It's just me and you. Come on, man. Nobody ever does. Everyone's a big, and they get on those shows on ESPN and FS1 and they talk big because they've got nobody to answer to. They don't even check their own Twitter accounts. They have somebody do it for them because they can't handle the pressure. They can't handle the backlash when they say something stupid. You ever wonder why they keep saying the same things over and over again? It's because they don't ever see the backlash because they're not man enough to even read the backlash. So.
Oh, they're entirely protected and entitled. It's pretty pathetic.
People like us, people like you guys, me, you guys, and others, we're going to be on the rise soon, man. It's going to happen because the fans are getting sick of it, and they're going to start to be looking to indie people and then we're going to become the more of a trusted. You can see the trend. You can see it changing. It's like that in politics right now. How many people are turning off CNN and how many people are turning off all those, news channels, and then they subscribe to some YouTuber who is talking about politics. They trust those guys more than they trust and sports is next, man.
Yeah, so. And they can voice. We will let them voice their own opinions too. So
we don't have script writers. There's nobody telling me what to say. There's nobody telling you what to say. You just say what you want, And if someone calls you out, you answer them. And the fans want that. They want to be heard. They want to know that someone's listening. I don't know. If you ever go on my videos, I answer everybody. I reply to my comments.
No, he does.
And whether they're good or bad, I respond because they just want to be heard. Even the bad ones. I respond to the bad ones especially because a lot of times you'll figure out that these people just want to be heard. They're just butthurt or pissed off. You reply to them, and a lot of times I get a weird reaction like, "Oh, I didn't expect for you to reply." Oh, okay. Well, I was just kidding, man. I didn't mean what I said. Like they change completely. They just want to be heard. That's all. And that's when people are going to start be turning to us. So
yeah,
just keep on keeping on. Yeah,
that's all I want. All I want. All right, let's finish this real quick. Okay, yeah. Did you know there was a cornerback in the Cardinals that allowed 9 touchdown passes?
No, I did not know that.
9.
Who?
9. I wrote his name down. Let me see. Byron Murphy.
9?
9.
When was the last time that's happened?
I have no idea. I didn't know that happens.
I didn't know it was possible.
So bad. They'll keep you there to continue to get diced.
How did you keep starting after after you got burned the first 5 times? How did you? Wow, that is shocking.
No. So yeah.
By the way, why are we doing the NFC West, and specifically why are we doing y'all are both Pats fans?
Yes.
But is this a part of your program? Like you do a division each week or something? Or?
Yes. We've done the NFC East and NFC North already. We're just going through it. So this is our third division going on. Yeah. The AFC, I think next week.
Yeah, the AFC East or next week. Oh, the AFC last probably. But I think the AFC North probably more likely.
I don't know what we're gonna start with, but AFC is next week.
Yeah, next week. Yeah.
The AFC is next week. I'm leading up to free agency. That's the 18th of March. So I'm doing 2 per week leading up to it.
God, I can't wait. I can't wait until the tampering period starts on the 16th.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
I love free agents. I love NFL start of the new league year. I just love it. Everything just starts going crazy. And it also means the draft is near, closer, a month closer, and I can start doing my draft grades and everything. And this channel, the VonAllen Sports channel, was built off the off season. The off season created the channel because there was so much stuff to talk about, and so much stuff to do.
Yeah.
And during the season, I have to do the live shows because there's always news. Like, it's so hard to actually just do a video about a subject matter during the regular season because by the time Monday Night Football's over, it's Tuesday. And then you start getting an idea for a video for last week, based on last week, and then it's Thursday in 2 days, and it's old news. It's old news. It's like, I was like, God, I can't keep up. So I thought, okay, after the off season, as soon as the Super Bowl was over, I told myself I'm going to take 2 weeks off, basically just clear my head, no, nothing football related, and then the off season I'm just going to kill it. And that's this week where I'm coming back now. So I got all these interviews and everything. But you have to have a break. After the Super Bowl, I had to have a break. I was just like, no more sports, no more football, no more craziness or, getting called a Tom Brady cocksucker and all that other stuff. I got to put that on pause, But I feel good now, so, yeah.
Yeah, we kind of did the same thing. We did little snippets here and there. I forgot what we even did last 2 weeks before we started this.
It was mostly this, besides the Dynasty thing, mostly nothing, basically nothing.
That's what I'm even doing. Yeah. I didn't even look at basketball. I didn't care. I just need to lay down and chill for a second.
Dude, I spent a whole week playing Civilization. Do you know that game?
No, I do not. I used to be here back in the day, too. But I haven't played, so I don't know time.
It's a real-time strategy game where you build a world and you go to fight war and you do trade deals and stuff. It's like a...
Oh, no, I know that game. I'm crazy. Yeah, I know that game. I never played it, though, but I know the game.
Yeah, but it takes a lot of your time. But, man, I did nothing but that for a whole week after the Super Bowl. I just played Civilization and watched the movies. Nothing but that. Me and Milena, we just hung out, went out on dates. Just
leisure time.
Nothing sports related. The only thing I did sports related was Kobe dying, and that sucked.
Because we had to. That was depressing.
And then the Super Bowl, but that was it. And then, yeah, it was fun.
It was fun. Speaking of gaming,
actually,
so
you guys are the first thing. You guys are the first thing I've done since I've been back.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
This is the very first thing I've done sports related. Yeah, just happened to turn out like that. So.
Not even bad, but gaming though. Hold on, because I've noticed since I think your first since the Brady Montana thing, I've been seeing you putting snippets of Metroid music or something like how big of a fan is he in that game? See, that's that's my top 3. Yeah, that's my top 3. Metroid is my ish. So I'm like, I never asked you about this before until a year later. But what's your you have a top tier of gaming franchise or whatever? Because you're a guy who pick up a controller and go crazy.
Yeah, Metroid is my favorite series ever. But that started 1986.
So Metroid 1, got it.
When my mom bought us Metroid, me and my brothers Metroid for Christmas, and it changed my life. I remember playing the game because before all we had was Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt and stuff like that. And Mario Brothers would scroll across the screen and you just had to keep going forward. Metroid was different. Metroid, you could go back. So I know that sounds like, oh, no duh, but back then this was revolutionary. So you go, and then you can go back to where you came from, and it was this whole different world, and the music was so dark and creepy, and the whole game was just creepy. I just fell in love with it, and it became one of my favorite games of all time. I love, of course, all the Zelda series.
That's my number 1 right there.
That's your number 1? I think, funnily enough, my favorite Zelda game of all time is A Link to the Past, and that was made for Super Nintendo. That's probably my favorite. I love Assassin's Creed. Of course, I love real-time strategy games like Civilization, Total War. Do you familiar with Total War? Command and Conquer. I love games like that too. Halo. I love all the Halo series. I was a big gamer. In fact, when Halo 2 came out and went online, I achieved the number 3 in the world at one time. Crazy. It's like one of those things I've never mentioned, but it just means that I was playing a lot of Halo. But I was younger. But me and my friends, we'd have Halo parties where we'd back when Xbox came out, the big thing about Xbox was, Halo was made for it was the game that Xbox came with. That came with the Xbox. So everyone had Halo, right? You had to play Halo. But if you bought multiple Xboxes, you could system link them. And then all you would need to do is set up a bunch of TVs and you all could be playing the same game. So we'd have parties where we'd have 4 TVs and 4 Xboxes there, all linked to the same game, and we'd do nothing but play Halo.
It's like a dream. That's awesome. That's like a dream.
This was 02, 03, but we did it so much that I was really good, unstoppable almost. It was, but I love Halo, and yeah. So what about you?
One of the crazy FPSs. I never played Xbox. I'm a PlayStation guy because that's my family. That's how I was. I never played the Halo side of things. Zelda's my number 1. I get stuck between Metroid. I love the Fallout series, with a passion. I fell in love with that recently, 5 or 6 years ago. I discovered Fallout 3, and then that was it. It just blew me away. Even though New Vegas is better, but Fallout is my ish. I've been a big Pokemon guy since I was 7, and I never let it go. I don't play much anymore, but I still have a little soft spot for it. So if I get to go get an emulator on the computer here and play, I'll do it. I don't mind. Skyrim is really, really fun for me too. I'm an RPG
I've never
guy.
played that. I've never played that, but I know it's a lot of people say it's really good.
You can't play it if you don't have time. And yeah,
It's
so if you got
time-consuming.
time to kill, please pick up a controller and play it. It's amazing.
I would have had to have done that 2 weeks ago. So
yeah, basically,
yeah.
And you probably still be playing right now because it's that freaking long. It's there's never-ending quest to do. So,
well, maybe next year. So
maybe next year, next off season, right?
Yeah.
Let me think.
How old are you, man?
Me, 27.
No, him.
26.
26. Okay, so you're about the same age.
We went to high school together.
Yeah,
he is a year younger than me.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Where are y'all from, anyway? Where y'all at?
We're from the Bronx.
I'm going to ask you questions. So I'm going to interview you now. Okay, so where are you guys? You're in the Bronx.
Yeah, from
but
the
you're
Bronx.
Patriots fans.
Yes. Well, for me, I'm all Boston sports. I originally became a Red Sox fan when I was like 10 years old. Like Pedro Martinez was
By the way, I can still hear you. I just got to grab something, but go ahead.
Yeah, Pedro Martinez was my favorite player growing up. So it was like I seen him play. I think it was an Orioles Red Sox game. I was like 10 years old, and he almost pitched a perfect game, almost did. And I said, "Oh, he's a beast." So I just became a Red Sox fan straight from there. And then basically, it was like, I don't know. I just caught on to every other Boston team, and I just stuck with them ever since. My family doesn't understand why.
No one usually understands.
No one understands why, how. I'm listen. I just stuck along with it, and I don't plan on going nowhere because I look at it. It's fun. It's really fun for me.
Weird. What about you?
I didn't watch sports till I was like 15 years old. I was like against it for some reason. I don't know why. So I refused to watch sports until I was 15 years old. On a Sunday, I'm like, look, I'm bored of all this crap I'm watching. Let me give this football thing a try. So the first game that I saw on TV was 2007 Patriots against the Jets. So you know what happened then? The Randy Moss connection. The what?
Week one.
Week one, yes. Before Spygate happened, right?
So your first game was Spygate and Brady DeMoss.
Yes, that was my first game.
That's a hell of a first game. That's a
yeah, it's historic. Yeah, it is. I didn't know what the hell was going on, but I fell in love with that. Ever since then, I started to follow the team. Then I started to learn. I got more friends because of that game too. People were like, "You watch football? Like you a Patriots fan?" I'm like, "I guess." Like you piece of ish. I got into harshness just before he came to school.
My freshman year in high school, it was when the 07 season happened, and I already came in to school as biggest Boston fan in the building. So it is. So I was very, very loud and outspoken.
I wasn't.
I was like, listen. So a lot of people came up and said, "Oh, who do you think you are?" I'm like, listen. So I was really loud and obnoxious, and then that day happened. 18-1 happened the next day from school. See, everybody else was quiet, but me, I came in there, I come in there and everyone just laughed, and I'm like, you know what? This is what I get for talking so much crap. But I love it though. I love the fact that I'm able to support my team no matter what, win, lose, or draw. I don't care. Even when they do dumb stuff, I'm not afraid to call them out. But like I said, it comes with the territory. So I loved it. I thought it was great.
My older brother is a 49ers fan at heart. He's almost as old as you are. And but he loves himself some Tom Brady. That's the guy he followed since 2001. So when he found out I was a Patriots fan, he was hyped as crap. But he kept calling me a Tom Brady fan. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. My first time watching sports, I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. So then the following year, when Tom Brady's knee blows out, that's when I knew I was a fan of the team because I was so pissed the entire year of watching us get our ass whooped against the good teams the entire year, watching Matt Castle do jack shit. Yeah, that pissed me off to no end. I'm like, oh, I actually care about this team, don't I? The fact that my player isn't there, but this team makes me break holes in my wall still. Oh,
especially the people in New York. They always tell us, you'd be surprised there's a big Patriot following here in the New York metropolitan area.
There is.
But then again, you can tell some of them are just fans of Tom Brady and some who are fans of the team. We are the people that, no matter where Tom Brady goes, we're still be fans of the team no matter what. But then you can tell, it's especially in New York, it's kind of like a little type of divide from Patriot fans. I don't know why. We get it all the time saying that, oh, well, you're not going to be here when he's there. You can tell people are going to be here or not. But it's just I don't know, it's just the New York thing that is crazy. But Giant fans give us crap all the time. So about, oh, well, we got 2 Super Bowl championships over here. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
what we have done since then? Nothing. Like, you have Jet fans talk about 2010. Always talk about 2010. I don't know why. Just
when they went home the next week, which kills me every time. You went home the next week. So what are you talking about? You got to our Super Bowl with us. What do you mean? But whatever.
I mean, listen, man. I'll always tell people this. It is harder to get to the Super Bowl than it is to win that one game.
Yes.
Okay? So bragging that you beat us in the Super Bowl, okay, congrats. But when you do jack crap, like
afterwards,
for yards, I mean, for years in between, and then after the second one, I don't know if I like that, you know? I mean, like good job, but we were always in it. We were always there. We kept coming back. We were always a contender. And then we eventually got 6 anyway. So what does it matter? I mean, we could have had 9, really, you know? So, and like people crap on the Buffalo Bills, you know? They went to 4 straight.
4 straight.
Do you have any idea how hard that is? That is much more impressive than that one win that the Giants had over the Bills, or that one win that the Redskins had over the Bills. I think what the Bills did going to 4 straight, that's harder. That impresses me more than just one Super Bowl victory. Not that I would rather have that, but I'm just saying that I would always rather have the victory, of course, but people don't understand how hard it is to get there.
Yeah, they always downgrade them for some reason. What they did was special. I will put special in there. 100%.
Anytime you probably see me talk about quarterbacks as far as greatness, I always have certain stats in there. I never say just Super Bowl victories. I say Super Bowl appearances. I always put that emphasis on appearances because that matters to me. So, like, for example, Aaron Rodgers versus Brett Favre, average person says, well, they both got 1 Super Bowl each. No. Brett has 2 appearances. That's different. Okay? So Brett's got the edge in that department. And that's what I'm saying. It's that those appearances matter. And they say, you know, Drew Brees has got a Super Bowl ring. Yeah, but he's never been back since. I'm impressed. Now, I'm not a fan or anything, but I see Ben Roethlisberger, you know, people crap on him and stuff. The dude's been to 3 Super Bowls.
That's 3 of them.
I mean, that's 3 in this day and age. I mean, we brag about the Patriots because they do this in the salary cap era. But Ben's been to 3 in the salary cap era. That's still impressive, you know. So it's just, you know, and Peyton, they crap on Peyton. Well, Peyton's played in 4. You know, that's. I mean, they say, oh, well, Eli's got the edge over Peyton. How?
In no stratosphere.
What?
They ain't even close to Peyton Manning.
What are you talking about? It just blows my mind, man. It's just really shocking how people think. It's crazy, but yeah, you know. So people want to already talking about Patrick Mahomes being the great. Can he be the GOAT and stuff? Dude, do you have any idea everything that had to go right for Tom to have done what he's done? Think about every moment that we've ever won, even a playoff game, just to keep going in the playoffs. That something had to go right. Something had to go correctly that could have gone the other direction. I mean, how many close calls where we're like, oh my God, or where a seating position might have changed everything. And think about how many times that had to happen to get 6.
2018 with the seating.
I mean, it's just, I mean, and that's not even counting the obvious ones like the, 28-3 or the Malcolm Butler pick. You know, we're talking about just random years where we make it to the Super Bowl when we weren't supposed to, like 2017. I don't even think we really had any business being in that Super Bowl, but yet Tom wills us all the way to it. I mean, it's crazy.
2011, definitely.
Yeah, 2011. What are we doing there? How are we there in the first place? And that's what I'm saying. It's like things got to go your way. When we went to the Super Bowl in 2011, how did we get there? By the Ravens kicker running up and shanking it off
Missing
to the
field
left.
goal. And Lee Evans dropping that touchdown pass right before that.
And yeah, exactly. Him getting stripped right when it happened, okay? So these things have to go right also. And so when you say, oh, Patrick Mahomes is going to surpass Brady, so you're saying that all those little things are always going to go correct for him? You mean like they went correct last year in the AFC Championship game?
Exactly
where the guy
right.
played the game of his life. He played the game of his life and he still couldn't beat the GOAT because he left too much time on the clock? That guy? That incident? You see? Even when he was playing his best, he still didn't get it done. So when you say that this guy's going to beat Tom Brady's record, you're delusional. It's absolutely idiotic, okay? Let's let the kid just have his career. Let's see what happens. And if he starts getting 3 and 4, then we'll be like, okay,
And
now it's
because
legitimate.
I'm talking about it.
Yeah. Now we can say, could he? But no.
Not after a
Dude,
while.
like I said, Ben's been to 3 and nobody's even talking about him, and so that's just how crazy this is. Tom's been to 9. It took 9 trips. 9. 50% of Tom's eligible playing career, where he was the eligible starter, 50% of his career has been in the Super Bowl.
He's been playing in February.
And he's been in the league for 20 years. I don't even understand that. I just don't. I mean, even Jordan only got to 6 finals, and that's the NBA,
Yeah.
I just don't. Getting to the Super Bowl is so difficult because NFL is designed for you not to be able to do that. It's designed so you cannot repeat.
No question.
It just drives me crazy. I have nothing against Patrick Mahomes at all. My problem is with everyone else. It's the media and the way they talk about him and the disrespect. It's not Patrick. Patrick is not going on a podium saying he's going to be the GOAT. Patrick's not saying he's this, he's that. It's everyone else that I've got a problem with. That's
why I hated Aaron Rodgers so much. Well, hate Aaron Rodgers so much for that reason back in 2011 and 12 and 13 and 14 and 15, dealing with that shit for 6 years of, easy to fit, And I'm not going to do that to Patrick, though. Patrick's demeanor, it's not a diva anyway.
Because Aaron embraced it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He embraced his arrogance. He embraced that hype. He acted like that. He carried himself that way. He threw people under the bus. He threw his teammates under the bus. He got his coach fired. I mean, that is not a likable person. That is not a person I can get behind. But Patrick doesn't. He's not like that, and I don't see that in him at all. But that's the difference, man. So
I love it. Damn.
Sorry, I go off on tangents sometimes like that, but I just.
Oh yeah, that happens. This is perfect, man.
It's 100% fine.
It's great, man. Enjoyed it.
100% fine. All right, so it's 10 p.m. here, and I got to work tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It's 5 a.m. It's 5 a.m. right now.
What?
I'm in Sofia, Bulgaria.
Oh, Bulgaria.
Oh yeah, you are with it, but still,
I'm in Eastern Europe. I'm like on the other side of the Iron Curtain. Do you know what that is? Do you get that reference?
Yes, I do.
You're probably too young. Okay, I didn't know if you're too young to get that reference. Or not.
History class. Shout out to Mr. Fink.
Cold War, baby. Yeah, I'm on the wrong side. That's how far.
I like that better. The wrong side.
I'm in the mother of Russia. Those kind of people. That's where I'm at. So, yeah.
Talk about
it's crazy.
All right.
But hey, man, you invited me, so I stayed up for you. So.
Thank you very, 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 very much for doing this. If I knew it was this early, I would have stopped this a long time ago so that you get some sleep. I kind of feel bad. I'm not gonna lie, but
no. I love talking football and everything, and it was good to do this. It's got me back in the. You obviously saw I had a lot to say because I had a lot to talk about because I haven't been. But no, I'm used to this. Like I adjust myself to America, so it's not that bad. Don't worry about it.
Oh, no problem. All right. But thanks very much for showing up. I need you to be here again. I think if you're fine, draft time, we can go over the draft stuff a little bit, if you don't mind.
Of course. Yeah, of course. When this video is released, just let me know so I can promote it. you know.
Of course,
100%. I even send you the
link.
files too if you want to do anything with it, right? Because you said a lot of good stuff.
Absolutely.
So I want to use it.
Yeah.
So I got you, all right? But thank you,
Okay.
Von, very much for this. This means the world to me. You understand how happy I am right now.
Okay,
All right,
thanks,
man.
man.
I'll talk to you later. Thank you very much, man.
See you later,
All
buddy.
right. Good night, guys.
Good
Peace.
night.
Peace out.